Welcome to our podcast, The Mystic Sisters. I'm Sarah and this is Kelly. Each week we talk about spiritual and magical topics, and in this week's episode we're talking about air elementals. We've previously talked about the fire element and water element, and this week we're talking about the air elementals. And the air elementals are beings that are high vibrational beings that work in nature, like the earth elementals. They are nature's guardians. They protect the environment and they connect with us humans spiritually to help us with healing the earth. And the air elementals include beings such as sylphs, Pegasus, unicorns. Kelly's going to talk to us now about the air element.
The first thing I thought of when we were going to bring up this topic of the air element, I thought of the shamans have a 4-direction medicine wheel because they use like the hawk, owl, or hummingbird for the east because they have the 4 directions, and that's the first thing that came to my mind. So for the east, it's hawk, owl, or hummingbird, and I feel they're very spiritual, not just because shamans use them, but the owl always reminds me, like when in a movie, an alien's coming, or they're very intelligent beings, and they just hold so much enlightenment. And so when you see an owl, like it represents, like that's the first thing you think of, like intellect, spirituality. The hawk, the first thing that would come to my mind is prey, like it's looking for its prey. And then you've got the sweet hummingbird. They're just such beautiful creatures. I just think of sweetness whenever I think of a hummingbird. But that's all for the east direction in the medicine wheel for shamanism. And then for the north, you have your buffalo, moose, or bear. In the west is the snake, and it represents transformation, how we shed our skin. And I used to be afraid of snakes until learning a little bit about the shaman medicine wheel, because the snake plays a very important role in transformation for us in our life. So when you see a snake, it's not to frighten you. It's actually there to say this is what's going on in your life right now, so it can be very helpful. And then in the south, for the medicine wheel, you have your eagle or wolf, or jaguar or panther. And then the next thing that I thought of, especially when I saw the wolf, is spirit animals. Because we all have, I want to say animals because we have more than one. And the spirit animals are like our spirit guides. So we have guides that are there throughout our life that protect us, and so do our spirit animals. And usually it's animals that you associate with the most. So whatever animal you feel drawn to or that calls out to you, that would be your spirit animal. And you can look up online. That's what I used to do when I first started seeing the different animals appear to me. You can actually look up and type in on your computer or your phone. You can look and see, like say you see a wolf one day and you want to look up the spiritual meaning. You could type in spiritual meaning of wolf and you'll find your answer that way. But our spirit guides and even angels like sending us different messages. So sometimes, maybe it's through your spirit animal, or sometimes they just pick different animals to send you messages for a different part of your life and what's going on. A lot of times our ancestors and guides send us animals as far as birds. Birds, they have sent me a lot. I usually see ravens, hummingbirds. Spirit likes to send me hummingbirds to see. They'll send me, I've seen all types of birds, to be honest. They also like to send butterflies, and that's a good one to mention, air, because butterflies fly in the air and everything, and they go through quite a transformation as well. Butterflies, they start out in a cocoon and then they turn into this beautiful creature. So every time I see a butterfly now, when spirit sends me that, I think of, wow, okay, I must be going through another transformation, a big shift. and that's what butterflies represent. And then, so birds really are messengers from spirit. You know, there used to be carrier pigeons back in the day where people would send little messages to. So birds are definitely messengers that really, they try to get your attention, and spirit or ancestors or even the angels will try to send that, you know, or even little feathers they'll send to us.
That's really nice. As you were saying, the birds are connected to the air element. And if we think about the tarot cards, the suit of swords are connected to the air element, and they can symbolize quick movement, information, and change. And
every time you say sword, I think of Merlin. I think of the sword and the stone. And you keep saying, for some reason, is Merlin energy associated with the air element somehow?
Usually Merlin is associated with the water element, because his name means water. And there's a place in Cornwall in England which is known as Merlin's Cave, and it's I've been there by the sea, by the water, so his energy is very connected to the sea, and he's also associated with that deep blue colour as well.
That's beautiful. Or maybe it's the dragons too around him, because he had dragon.
When we think of the story of King Arthur, and he's pulling the sword out of the stone, and so that is associated in our minds with truth and with change.
You know what else? You know what just else came to my mind is spells. Merlin had a spell book.
Yeah, the voice and words writing is connected to the air element as well.
You know, I'm like, the Merlin just keeps coming up for me a lot. I literally saw, it was a movie about him that he was buried with his book. And for some reason, I just think that he had like a magical book, and it's associated with like the Holy Grail somehow, and like the cup and everything. It's like he's associated with all of that. So like when they were hiding, when the Knights of Templar and everybody were hiding all these things, I wonder if Merlin's book was one of them.
Yeah, a lot of people believe that the Holy Grail wasn't a physical cup, but it was information that was being searched for.
That makes sense. Yeah, that it was the information that they were holding.
Yeah.
That's true. That's pretty cool. Sorry, I threw you right off topic. You mentioned sword, and I was like, Merlin, and the enchanted sword.
We think in the past of birds, the carrier pigeons and information. They're all connected with the air element and with bringing truth, bringing information. Also, birds can be associated with change as well. When we see doves, they're associated with peace, and so they bring through a message of peace when we see them. And
yeah, like I associate Jesus sometimes with a dove. I see that sometimes, like a beautiful white dove.
Yeah, that's nice.
You were saying birds have different information. Well, it's different. They're associated with different meanings.
Yeah, the birds can be associated with different meanings, and also they represent change, represent information.
There's a healing element about them too. There's something comforting I feel when I see a bird. They just seem kind of healing in a way.
It's comforting to see them around.
It's that and their wings. It's like it's like they're little tiny angels. Doesn't that seem, because like they can wrap their little wing around you and comfort you in a way? That's what they seem like.
Yeah.
They just seem motherly or something, like very,
like how the angels, they'll bring through messages, guidance. So like angels are also associated with the air element.
Yeah, because there's times when if I'm not feeling good or anything, you can ask your guardian angels. You can ask them to wrap their angel wings around you for protection or just for healing, and they do it, and it's very comforting.
Yeah.
They say when you see a feather, that's a sign too, and that's part of like the air element, like the feather.
Yeah. Often our loved ones in spirit, they may send us a feather to show us that they are around as a message. They may also, spirit may send us a feather to, also spirit may send us a feather as a confirmation or as a message. It may be something we've got on our mind that we're worrying about, and they may send us that feather to show us that everything's going to be okay.
Before we started the podcast, you mentioned unicorns, that you were going to talk about unicorns. And I think that's another reason I keep thinking of Merlin and Avalon, because there was unicorns in Avalon, and that's a very magical creature too. And they're part of the air element, right? The unicorns are?
Yes, because unicorns, they're associated with a quick movement like the horse. Horses are also associated with the air element. They move in quickly, and the unicorns are very pure beings. They have the energy of the horse, so they bring you through this quick movement, because the horse spirit animal is associated with quick movement, with strength, and they have that within them. But they're also very, very pure, and with their horn, they also have that strong connection with their third eye, and they help us with connecting with our third eye and with our spiritual connection. Because the unicorns are telepathic, they're very spiritual. They've got a very childlike energy as well. They're very playful, like the fairy energy. They're very playful, and unicorns like to be around children and people, adults that are pure at heart.
No wonder why I was obsessed with unicorns as a kid. You were just making me think of that. For some reason that came up. When I was a child, I collected all kinds of unicorn figurines, and I had these beautiful unicorn, like the little crystal ball, and they had the unicorn inside, and you shake them, the little globes. And I had like a large collection of all these unicorns, and that was like my favorite thing when I was a kid. I was collecting like all these little unicorn snow globes and things, and I wish I still had them. I moved around so much, they broke. I don't have like one of them, and I missed that. I had all these pretty little unicorn things.
I remember having a unicorn ornament when I was a kid, and I used to love it. I'd place it next to my bed.
Aw, that's where I had my unicorn stuff. It was on my nightstand. All my little favorite figurines. I had this nightstand, and I put my little unicorn things on there.
I had a collection because I had the unicorn. It was a set of these ornaments, and I had the unicorn, and I had a princess, and I had a figure that looked like Merlin, and I had a knight as well, and placed them out next to my bed.
Oh, that's so cute.
It's like probably that. A lot of children seem to like unicorns as well as fairies. Yeah. They've got a very gentle, pure energy. They come through to uplift us. Sometimes unicorns can work with us as spirit animals, or we can call on their energy. They can help us with connecting with our inner child and with our spiritual connection. They can come through when we need upliftment, and also when we are developing our connection with spirit and the angels. But because their energy is very pure, they may only work with certain people. If you are pure at heart, they'll work with you, because different people need different energies, need different support. If you are a gentle soul, if you are pure at heart, and you are on your spiritual journey, then they will help you with that. The unicorns, they've got a very angelic energy. They feel very light, high vibrational, like the angelic energies. So they can help you with connecting with your angels, your guardian angels as well.
Yeah, I have a deck of angel cards, and that started bringing me out. I kept getting a card that said to connect more with the unicorns, that they were trying to connect with me. And it made sense because remember when we did the podcast on the fairies and I was connecting into the realm of Avalon, and I did see a white horse, and it quite possibly could have been a unicorn because it was running fast. It was like trying to show me something, but it was like another portal. It was a portal to Avalon that I was seeing. Ever since then, I started seeing like little signs of unicorns again, you know, and then I keep pulling that unicorn card as far as energy, like to connect more to them, to that, you know, to
It's
that
nice.
side.
They're also very healing as well. They work a lot with the heart chakra. Because they're very pure, loving energy, so they can help us with healing our heart chakras, as well as helping us to open up our third eye and our crown chakra more as well.
That makes a lot of sense, you know, like with the heart and everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense then why they're trying to work with me, because I know that that's one thing that I need to work on because I kind of closed off my heart. So I think they're trying to help me still like heal it and everything.
Yeah. They like to work with people who need to do inner child healing as well. Then they can help you with healing your inner child so you can welcome more love into your life, because sometimes it can be difficult for us to accept love and to develop relationships because we may still be carrying pain from our childhood, so they can help with healing that.
You know, what's a good unicorn movie is have you ever seen the movie Legend with Tom Cruise and Mia Farrow?
No, I haven't seen
Oh
it.
my God, you
I
have
need
to
to
see
watch it.
You have to see that movie. She's like a fair maiden. And I swear it sort of reminds me of Avalon, and there's like little creatures, and it's just like a cool movie. And like Mia Farrow's like this really pure maiden, and the unicorns will come to her. Well, you're not supposed to touch the unicorn, because if you do, darkness will fall. And then the unicorns could die, and like all these things happen. Well, what does she do? She touches the damn unicorn, you know?
They
And
always do on these films.
right? I'd be the one to touch it. I wouldn't be able to help myself. They're just, but it's cool to watch what happens, because it's like they go through all these transformations, and then the darkness tries to capture the light, because the unicorns hold all the light and the
Yeah,
magic and their wand and everything. You got to see the movie. It's so
I need to
amazing.
watch it.
Yeah. It's really good. I'm not going to ruin the ending or anything for you, but you got to see it.
It sounds really good. I love the magical films.
Me too. Those are like the main things that I watch, is like anything to do with magic and stuff, you know?
Yeah,
Like that's what we'll be talking about in October, right? Like the Halloween magical
yeah,
movies.
yeah. We're gonna do a witchy themed October. So for October we're gonna look at different witchy topics, witchy magical movies and spells and witchy songs. And with Halloween coming up, we want to look at different magical and witchy themed topics. So we're really looking forward to that.
It's going to be so much fun.
Yeah.
My favorite time of year.
I do like the magical aspect of it, even though I love the summer. I just love everything is out in bloom, and I like the weather, and but autumn, I like the magical essence of it.
See, autumn's my favorite. Like out of all the seasons, autumn it's funny because I love autumn so much because of it's like the leaves changing. I like the change. I love the smells like of like apple pie or cinnamon, you know, the spices, pumpkin. Like I love that. That's like my favorite right there. Like I love
Yeah.
everything, the magical aspect. So I'm kind of like obsessed with all that. But the funny thing is, it's the hardest time of the year for me because it's big time transformation. And I wonder if because I have some air in my chart like you
Yeah.
do you think that's why we go through this at this time?
If you've got a lot of A in your chart, then that can bring a lot of change. It can depend on what's happening in the skies at the time, what's happening astrologically. I know there's a lot of retrograde. There seems to be a lot of planetary action at the moment as well, so that's triggering off a lot of change.
The retrograde, and then not only that, it's like the energy, like, because it's changing again, it's like that ascension energy is coming through, and that 1111 portal, I think, is like, that's coming up because of like twin flames. And so we got all these portals, like the 1010 portal, like for the endings. So there's all this change going on, and it's like, it's a lot, right?
Yeah, 1111, I think that's the biggest one of the year, isn't it?
It really is. And I always associate 1111 with twin flames and soulmates. Always. Like, because that's always been
balance. The numbers represent balance.
That's true. So that's a big one. And I feel that every year on that year, it's like trying to get you that much closer to your twin flame or soulmate, like whatever journey you're on, whether it's twin flame or soulmate,
Yeah, it also symbolizes manifestation and change, because one is the start of the cycle. So it's a good time for making wishes and for manifesting, working on your goals. There's this high concentration of new energies.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Well, now that we brought that topic up, but the 1111, when you see it with someone, right? It's not only you that notice it, when that other person notices it and you notice it, and you already had this connection with that person, does that just kind of clarify that that's your person? Like I know that we have more than one person, because obviously if that person's not awakened or ready, so spirit has backup for us. But I'm just saying, like, if they recognize it and you recognize the 1111, is that a possibility?
Yes, there's a possibility, as long as you're both ready. So both partners need to be ready. But I feel that with the 1111 portal, it does bring through a lot of energy for transformation in relationships, and as long as you're both on the same level roughly, then that energy can help to improve the relationship, and it can help to clear away negative energies that may be preventing you from being together. Some partners, they may be a lot resistant, and this can so it can be difficult for these partnerships to work if they're both not in alignment. But that energy of the 1111 portal can help clear away some negative energy that may be interfering.
That makes sense about the 1111 portal. I didn't know that can clear away some of the energy, because I knew it was about kind of them, that energy trying to come together, but I didn't know that it could clear that away. That's pretty cool.
The 1111 portal is all about transformation. It is a good time for a lot of relationships around that time, because it can bring through growth.
That makes sense. Oh, wow. I just thought of something, because we're in the retrograde, is kind of like clearing the way of all the old.
Yeah.
And the like kind of like karmic relationships, or whatever you call those, the toxic ones, or the people that are in toxic relationships that aren't going to last, those things are all blown away. And then it gets you ready to get on a different path. So all the endings are starting to happen now to kind of clear the way. That makes sense how they do that. Wow, look at that. How spirit lines things up.
Yeah.
Look at that. I just noticed that.
It's a divine plan. Everything connects together.
Right? Do you ever feel, though, like 1111 also has like unicorn energy to it? I don't know why I get that feeling.
Yeah, I think because it's very powerful energy, and it's very high vibration energy, like the unicorns. So there's like that connection.
So it's a good day probably to tap into that energy, huh?
Yeah.
It's a good day to call off work. Hopefully they're not listening to this. Where's Kelly? She's trying to manifest stuff. It's the 1111 portal.
She's meeting with the unicorns.
She has a very important meeting with the unicorns right now. We should do that. On 11/11, we should have a meeting with the unicorns.
Unicorn Day.
Yeah, we should try. We should do a special podcast on it.
Special unicorn edition.
That'd be a lot of fun.
Come and join us on 11/11 if you want to have a meeting with the unicorns.
Definitely.
How do you work with the air element?
For me, I do it. I think I brought up the shaman because that's one way I call in the air element if I'm at home. If I'm inside, I've watched a few different spiritual like videos, so I will call in like the 4 elements, like the animals. So I'll try to call in like with the air element. I'll try to work with it. So that way, you know, I can work with it that way. I have like chimes and things of air around me, so I can always bring in the air element that way. Also, like if I go outside in nature, I'll try to connect with like the birds or the butterflies, stuff like that. Or meditation is good too. Like for me to connect with the unicorns. The unicorns are a little bit harder. Like you said, you got to be in the right frame. You got to be in a pure state, and you can't really be in fear. So sometimes that's like meditation, you know, or I'll focus on it. I'll have like a unicorn card out or something and try to tap into the energy. You got to try to raise it. I think it's a little bit harder connecting with them. So we're really going to have the 11/11 portal help us. What about you? How do you connect with the air element?
The air element, as I mentioned earlier, is associated with writing, speaking. So I like to use the air element with manifestation because the air element brings quick changes. So affirmations, I like using affirmations either through speaking them out loud or through writing them down, or writing down what I want to manifest. If I write down a list of things that I want to bring into my life, and speaking them as well helps to focus extra energy onto the manifestation. So I think the air element is very powerful for manifestation. Also, we can use the air element with smudging. If we're trying to clear away negative energy, you may burn herbs like sage or rosemary to help you clear away negative energies. So you've got the air element working with the fire element to help clear out negative energies from your space.
That's a good idea. Oh, the writing got me thinking, and here I am forgetting I'm a writer. I totally forgot about that part of it. I'm over here talking about birds and unicorns. I agree with you though. I've been writing more and more lately because we just had that new moon too. So I've been trying to manifest more and like journal more. But you know, for some reasons this wanted to come through. When you're manifesting, never manifest a specific person, because you never know how it could turn out. Like if it's not in the divine will or it's not a right, like I never do that anymore. I stopped doing a specific person unless I want to clear the energy between someone. But I just feel people need to hear that, because I see all kinds of people now online doing all kinds of crazy love spells and all these things trying to summon people. And I'm like, you have no idea who you're summoning.
Yeah, I think
if it goes wrong.
I think you could manifest a type of person. Like if you want someone who has similar interests to you, or you want someone who's spiritual, someone who is on your wavelength, but when people try to manifest specific people, that can cause problems because you may not be meant to be with that person.
Yeah, because I have a friend that did it, and I'm not gonna name any names, but she did a spell, you know, like a real, like, I don't know, some woo-woo thing she saw, like, you know, they're all online now talking about doing all these spells. Well, it backfired. And it's not that they weren't meant to be together, it's just that, you know, one of them weren't ready.
Yeah.
But now they get each other out of each other's energy space. You know? That's what she kept telling me. She, you know, she's like, she wishes she never did it. And I'm like, see, that's why I've never ever attempt to do any kind of spell like that. I might write something to manifest, like I did one to manifest a soulmate, but I only put the qualities, like you said. I would never, I don't know, for some reason, I always knew enough never to play around with any of those things, you know?
Yeah, because if you try to manifest a specific person, they may not be ready. It could be that they're in a negative mindset. They may not be ready for a relationship, and you're bringing that negative energy then into your life. We don't always know people. We don't know what they're working through at this time, and you may bring through that energy that you don't want into your life now.
Hey, I brought it in on accident just by, I did, you know how I told you I tried to manifest a soulmate?
Yeah.
Well, literally the month that I did it, one contacted me from the past, like a person, and it's funny because when I met him before, years ago, I don't know, 9 years ago, whenever we first met, I literally cut him out of my mind because he was so toxic, you know, and he was a player and a cheat and all this other stuff. So I literally had him cut out of my mind and I totally forgot about him. Well, I had no intention. When I did this, I was like looking for a high vibrational, spiritual person, someone that could teach me stuff, right? That's not who came in. That's not at all who came in, but I felt the connection. Like this person came in, we had this weird connection. That's why I mentioned we were seeing 1111 together, and you know, he's my twin flame, but I kept yelling at spirit, like when it didn't work out. And he was on a low vibration. He only wanted toxic people around him. That's it. That's who he chooses to be around. You know, he didn't want the help. He wanted to stay in a low vibration. And I've been yelling at spirit ever since. Why did you do this to me? Why? This isn't what I asked for. This was not on my list. Not one of these qualities he has are not on my list. Why? I kept, like, literally, even to this day, I keep saying, why? And then it came to me this morning. It's like, because I kept saying, like, why? And they're like, well, you're learning lessons, you know, you're learning your worth. Like, you're learning to stand in your power. So they're like, as much as you think it's not teaching you things, it is. And I'm like, yeah, but it sucks. I don't want to learn that way. Can't you teach me in a nice way? You know? You know what I mean? Do you ever feel like that sometimes? It's like, I don't know, why did that have to happen, you know?
Yeah.
But it does. It's like, I don't know, you meet someone and then you have the connection, but the person basically, like, part of them sucks. I don't know what other way to say it. It's like, because it's like you want to be around them, but you can't because they pull you down. And you know, if you go around them, you'll be in the pit, the karmic pit of hell. And the wheel will go again. Then it'll be stuck on the karmic wheel like a hamster, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, they'll drag you into their drama if you're not aligned with this person, be drawn to certain qualities in them. But if they're not ready for a relationship and they've got all these issues that they're dealing with, then you can just get sucked into their drama.
But that's the thing. He's codependent, and it's not that he wasn't ready for a relationship, not a real one. Like, he wants a relationship with someone that's going to party with him, someone that's going to drink and, you know what I mean? Like someone on his low vibrational level. It's like he wants a codependent, he wants someone to be there for him, but they have to be, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
On his toxic level. That's the thing, because the last time I ran into him, I didn't even resonate with him anymore because he's so toxic now.
Yeah. He's not ready to face his demons. He's not ready to work through his shadow side. And he just wants to keep attracting things that pacify him.
That makes sense, yeah. Just so he doesn't have to deal with the real stuff because he doesn't want to face it. That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, a lot of people who aren't ready to deal with their problems, they'll just keep distracting themselves, and they just keep going around in circles. They keep repeating that pattern all the time.
Yeah, and the sad thing is like, even though, you know, he had a girlfriend or whatever, it's like he was seeing all these other people too. It's like he can never get enough attention. I mean, I was like looking at it as like, what's wrong with this person? Like, why does he need so much attention? But then I try to look at the spiritual side of it, and it's like you said, it's a big distraction. Like he has to fill up all this space of all this hurt and pain with all these people. But being an empath, I'm like, I get overwhelmed just by dealing with one man. I can't imagine. I don't know how I don't know how he does it talking to all these girls. I'm like, because being an empath, all that energy hurts me. It would literally hurt me to talk to all these people. I just don't know how people do it. Like talk to all, you know, these people. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, it's a distraction from the inner work. They're always looking for outward distractions. They don't have to deal with what's going on inside.
That makes a lot of sense. Yeah. I guess it's because of all the healing work I've done. I just can't resonate with that life anymore. I'm like, I just don't resonate that. You know, now learning all this stuff, even sex is gross to me right now. Like, because if you have sex with the wrong person, that'll lower your vibration too. And someone like him sleeping with multiple people, that's why his energy stays like that. So like I'm just so grossed out. I could see that I was a nun in a past life because I still kind of want to go towards that part of me, that celibacy part, because I gain more power and wisdom by staying celibate. I gain more healing and knowledge because people can bring you down if they're not on your vibrational match, you know?
Yeah. Yeah,
Sorry.
that's the thing. We've got
I'm sorry. I really went. We're supposed to be talking air elements, and I'm talking about being a nun and celibate. I just do. I know I can't help myself. I guess because I've been a nun more than once in a past life, but I find people disgusting, and I don't mean to say that like it's to the people or in my, and I hate saying this, and people are probably going to watch it in my area and not like me anymore, and that's fine, but most people in my area or I see online or it's just gross. Like society today is gross. They don't care, they don't think, they just go with these impulses and urges, and it's so gross to me that I just want to wear a long robe and I want to just devote myself to God and hide. Can I just hide from society, Sarah? I don't want to interact with people anymore.
I think it's how society's been conditioned now, and so people are turning away from meaningful relationships.
Because of that?
Yeah, I think it's because of conditioning.
That makes sense. It's because they see that, and it's not even, you know, to be honest, Sarah, everybody wants to blame it on, oh, you know, it's social media, it's this and that. I'm on social media. I'm not distracted. It's the type of person you are. That's the thing. Or like you said, if they're in a wounded state and they're trying to distract themselves, but I don't blame it. It is society, yes, but you know, you can have as many apps or phones or social media. If you condition yourself, if you free yourself from that stage, or you know, if you free yourself from those things, you can beat it, you know, you can go on there and not like try to hook up with everyone you see, you know what I mean? Or send everybody these DMs like, hey, you know, if you condition yourself to get out of it, you know, like everyone thinks that you're stuck. They have these urges of, oh, I'm stuck. I'm made like that. You're not, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, we've all got a choice.
Exactly. Like you don't have to stay like that. You don't have to be like that, like what society tells us. That's what we come here really to do, is to unlearn everything that we've been programmed with, like from our past lives and then this life. It's like we're unlearning everything, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, and we're learning new lessons and evolving.
Exactly.
Thank you for listening to our podcast, The Mystic Sisters. We'll be back next week with another episode.